Think about it for a minute. All right. They turn off your hunger. Okay, they are fast. And all four of them require no digestion to work. Okay, so this is why people don't do those things, because your digestion is not essential for these. So we're going to go back for a minute. Excuse me. I went one too fast. Well, anyhow, first thing I want to talk about is protein. So it provides amino acids. We're going to have some fun subjects about that. And they are the building blocks to use to make almost everything in your body. So if you're now on Zoom and you're looking at a picture of yourself, say hello to your own personal protein combination with a little fat mixed in. So we need those for red blood cells and hemoglobin. So many times people who are anemic are not iron deficient. They are often protein deficient. We need those for white blood cells, and the white blood cells not only to make those, but they also make those antibodies to fight infections, such as COVID-19. We need those to make enzymes, okay, digestive enzymes for which we digest our food, as well as we also use them for metabolic enzymes to make to help us breathe, but also to do anything else in our body, such as convert one amino acid to another one. We make our first antioxidants, such as glutathione, which actually also is a detoxifier, metallothionein, which is another detoxifier, and superoxide dismutase. So you thought we just depended on carotenoid complex. No, we actually make some antioxidants ourselves if we have enough amino acids, if we have enough protein. Now, when I say if enough, we're going to go a little further. So our hormones, thyroid hormone and insulin, are made out of amino acids. Your hair, your nails, your skin, your muscles, and also your bones. A lot of people fall and they don't break their hip because their bones flex because they have enough protein. Neurotransmitters, such as serotonin from tryptophan to fight depression. Well, would you rather have tryptophan or protein, or would you rather have Prozac? Dopamine, norepinephrine, epinephrine, our reward pathway, okay, our motor control, our attention and focus, okay, talk about ADD and ADHD, okay, neurotransmitters are made out of amino acids. Albumin regulates our water balance. We see people who are have low blood pressure. Often, a little extra protein can make all the difference. There are other things, of course, too. And then finally, for energy. If we don't eat enough food, your body will break down muscle as a source of energy and amino acids. And when you overeat, the excess gets stored as fat. It's the old adage, over the lips, onto the hips. But here's the key subject. You can't just hammer protein. You have to have enough calories to where you save protein to make these 8 subjects that we just talked about. So the first part, our stomach, its job is to secrete acid and enzymes to break down our proteins into smaller chunks, which ultimately will digest it further. There is a bypass to that if you have poor digestion. One of the ways to make your digestion work better is to have no water prior, during, and after your meal. So, do you know how to cook? What happens if you add a glass of water to a pot of boiling soup? Does it stay boiling or does it stop? If you don't know the answer, then you're at risk, because if you can't cook, then you depend on other people to prepare your meals and you have no idea what's going into it. So, of course, you add water to a pot of boiling soup and it will stop boiling. So more water with your meals will make your digestion less efficient. Of course, always consider some people are young and healthy and strong and it doesn't matter. But somehow, a lot of us neo-lifers gravitate to people who have a complaint about their body and some a complaint about their money, which was the reason I joined. I like the tax deduction. You know, if you pay less in taxes, you make more money. The other thing is, I teach people that if they drink something, make it room temperature or hot. Think about washing greasy dishes in cold water. Who enjoys that? If you don't know about that, then once again, you're missing an essential lesson, or it's your wife's fault because she doesn't make you do the dishes. The key thing is, that so what I teach people is no water for about 30 minutes prior to a meal, no water during the meal, and no water for 30 to 60, 90 minutes afterwards, or 2 hours if it's Thanksgiving or Christmas dinner and we are all loaded up. So those are some really easy things. But if that doesn't work, the no water with the meals, then we go to Betagest. Okay, Betagest is a wonderful product to give you a little extra stomach acid to help you go over the hump. So sometimes we talk about too much or too little acid. Well, too little acid will generally result in having all the symptoms you see on TV, GERD, acid reflux, and so on, because if you don't have enough acid, your food will just nicely ferment, your stomach will bloat, the bowel will burst, and the acid will rush up into your throat, and you have acid indigestion, and then the doctor says, Mrs. So-and-so, you have too much acid, take some Nexium, okay, and or some Prilosec, and that's it. But he swallowed his tongue. He should have said, you have too much acid in the throat, and I have no idea why the acid ended up in the throat. So let's talk a little more about protein. Nowadays, a lot of people love collagen protein. Well, what do you do when you run across those people over there? You'll say, well, let's ask G-O, and then what does come? A D or is it G-G-E-L? Let's use Google. Goes quicker because the other one, prayers also help. So collagen proteins, okay, have none of the essential amino acids. You just Google it, okay? You Google amino acids in collagen. You Google essential amino acids. There's 9 of them. 8 for adults. How about bone broth? It has none of the essential amino acids in there. They both have some very nice uses. There is nothing wrong with them. You have to understand that collagen, it better be hydrolyzed because the majority of it comes from cowhide. So bon appetit, eat a piece of cowhide or your belt. So what requires no digestion, for example? Simple carbohydrates. So let's go to the next part. So the easiest way to get a good protein for a person that you don't want to talk about all the things I just talked about, you say, just try this. It has all 22 amino acids. You don't have to learn about food science, and it goes right in, and you have a very nice benefit. What are some benefits? This was my story back in 1989 in the Neolife magazine. It's the balance of the amino acids that makes all the difference. Okay? If you have 5 tires and 4 steering wheels, you only make 1 car. If you have 5 tires and 1 steering wheel, okay, you only waste 1 tire. In terms of protein efficiency ratio, the second system attains a higher value because it's a closer match to what is supplied and what's used. You can read more about this. There's plenty of information. But this is what sets the Neolife shake apart. Ever since the very beginning, when the first shake came on, we've always used the Protogard process. This is where your protein has been pre-digested with enzymes at body temperature to have free-form amino acid. This is an old picture, okay, because they don't have a new picture, so we don't have the fructose right now. But free-form amino acids go in as quick as sugar. They do not stimulate insulin. They do stabilize your blood sugar. Then your partially broken down proteins, okay, the partially hydrolyzed one coming next. So you have a gradual release. Then you finally go to your unhydrolyzed or your complete protein. Most of the protein supplements on the market are like that. And most of the proteins are like that too. So unhydrolyzed, that is your chicken egg, that's your chicken, that's your turkey, that's your fish, that's your beef. They are unhydrolyzed. And sometimes they're a little easier to digest. If you take the steak and you make it into ground beef, it's like chewing it, except the grinder did the chewing for you. So this is a very, very nice thing, because what this means is that you have protein coming in, okay, in the form of amino acids over a 4-hour period or longer, because some of the people who go in the Neolife shake, they last 6 hours or so. But the key thing is, over a period of 4 hours, you provide the amino acids to make red blood cells, white blood cells, antibodies, okay, hormones, so detoxifiers, all of those other things. So you just supply your body with a continuous supply. What would happen if you didn't have a protein shake and you had a Neolife shake and you had a complete protein, such as an egg or a piece of chicken? then you won't have that hump at 30 minutes or at 1 hour. You have a slow, gradual increase that somewhere tops out at 2 to 3 hours. Of course, depending on who you are, where you are, what your health is like. But for an average person, using a protein shake means that you can go right to work. It's easy to digest. It doesn't sit heavy in your stomach. So our Neolife shake has other stuff in there too. But the gold is the pre-digested protein. And not just pre-digested because they are pre-digested protein, but we have the sequence. We have a gradual release of amino acids over a long period of time. That is the secret to getting people healthy. One more. Part 2. Stomach acid is stronger than battery acid. It would eat the finish right off your car. Beta-Digest isn't as strong, but it helps you get along a little bit. So when people go to Mexico, okay, or any other country, and you get Montezuma's Revenge, what is going on? Is it the bacteria, or was it the cold, extra large margarita that they had with their meal that just basically wiped out their stomach acid? And what is the net result of the Montezuma's Revenge? You feel washed out, actually scored, but you're oh so clean, okay? So that jelly gets rid of it because you can wash everything out. So then what you do is you recoat your intestine, acidophilus plus, okay? So if you go traveling, there's the travel duo, Beta-Digest, okay, to kill stuff that accidentally makes it in your food and don't drown it out with liquids. And second, acidophilus plus, to give you a little protection in case an unwanted organism comes in there and there's no place for them to park. Then how to deal with antibiotics, okay? So antibiotics and acidophilus are opposites, but the acidophilus is definitely beneficial for a person who takes antibiotics. You just have to take them 3 to 4 hours apart, never at the same time. 3, your stomach acid is stronger than battery acid, okay? So it dissolves iron, okay? And iron is a metal. And so if you dissolve the iron, then you can get the iron that you need to make red blood cells and other things as well too. But what you don't want to forget is that all the minerals are metals. Okay? So you need all your minerals out of your food. So if your stomach acid is stronger, you will get more calcium, more magnesium, more phosphorus, more copper, more zinc, more molybdenum, more boron out of your food. And hopefully you're eating a wide variety of foods. Now, one of the things to remember is that not all food has all the minerals. So for example, many years ago, I was up in Oregon doing a talk for Bob Pearson together with Jen McAfee, and we drove through those beautiful cornfields. And I was told that right away that when the cow threw a calf, they immediately would give the calf a shot of selenium because there was 0 selenium in the soil. So you can't tell what's in there by looking at it. And in fertilizer, NPK, nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, it's only geared to make the fruits and the vegetables heavier because we buy everything by the pound, not by nutrition. So how to learn a little bit about more food? Google dirty dozen. Not dirty eggs, but dirty dozen foods. The next one, page 4. This is probably the most important thing. Ever think, if you ever had indigestion, that all life long, that acid that goes up and burns your throat goes down into your intestine and you don't have an ulcer? The key thing here is that all acid secretions have to be balanced by the alkaline secretions from the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas. So if you have a little bit of acid or no acid, your liver, gallbladder, and pancreas won't work as well. And if you have more acid, you will have more alkalinity and more bile. And bile is the key ingredient. Bile also has a nickname. It's called liquid dishwashing detergent. It emulsifies the fats so that the lipase from the pancreas can get in there. It also helps us absorb the vitamin A, the D, the E, the fats, okay? We also eliminate our toxins, mold toxins. The majority go out through the liver and also to the kidneys. Your cholesterol, this is how you lose your cholesterol and your estrogens, okay, and your testosterone. This is a major detox pathway. Of course, we don't want to follow it up by not being able to eliminate, so often Neolax or magnesium are very beneficial to get the trash out. So what if it doesn't work well? Our bypass is enzyme digestive aid. It is one of the few products on the market that has bile acids in it. And bile acids are the key to help your lipase deal with the fats in your diet. So that makes a huge difference. So one of the notes is that if you start working with people who are a little older and a little slower, you often can't use Betagest, but you can safely use enzyme digestive aid any time of the day, without food, with food. But Betagest is always with food, right at the beginning of the meal after 2 bites. So if people don't understand how to use Betagest, or you're not sure that they can, start on enzyme digestive aid. That is one of the key things. So the big dog, it's Betagest. Because if your digestion works, you get more out of your food. You get more out of your supplements. Okay, you get more out of everything. One of the key things is that will kill your digestion better than anything else is stress. So one of the things I teach people, before you eat, say a prayer. Or meditate, relax, calm down. Ever had that feeling where you sit around a table and you hold hands, you say a prayer before you eat, and you just melt in your chair? When you have that melt feeling, you are ready to digest. If you're on the run between jobs, trying to eat and do your job, take Betagest and take enzymes and get the nutrients out of your food. So Betagest is the first one. So our first line of defense, if we want to protect our health or help somebody to better health, is Betagest, okay, and protein. Now you think, okay, what about Formula 4? Absolutely. Also depends on the budget. But if digestion doesn't work, okay, and the bile acids don't work, then it's not working as well. The second line of defense is the enzymes and the acidophilus and the Neolax. Look, you can't stuff more stuff in people who are stuffed. So some people need to go on Neolax and make sure that things move through. Generally speaking, you can eat something like beets, okay, or sesame seeds or corn, and they should reappear in that bowl, that white ceramic bowl, in 24 to 36 hours. So this is the first line. So now one more thing. I have 3 minutes. COVID. What we did in the very beginning is what we told our clients is, okay, what do we do? And we say, what are we looking for? And the key thing in your health is what's missing. So the first thing to do is avoid a pitfall. Avoid the sugars and the simple carbohydrates. Here's a Dr. Saraskin. He passed now. He wrote a book on vitamin C. But he took students because they're always broke and they want to do something for money. And he gave them ever-increasing amounts of sugar. The highest amount of sugar was like a can of Coke. There are no cans of Cokes anymore. There are only 16-ounce bottles of Cokes. But the net result was that the white blood cells got drunk on the sugar and would not absorb the bacteria that they were exposed to. So sugar is the first thing that will lower your immune system. So if you have to have sugar, remember, you're hungry and it requires no digestion. And if you like the taste of it, have it after a meal. The second thing is ramp up when you think you've been exposed. It's not an immune boost if you take high doses all the time, because if you take a high dose and you get exposed to something, you have to take a higher dose. So we usually triple it, depending on what we already take. Vitamin C. I'm amazed how many people take their vitamin C once a day. Our Super C is ideal to take twice a day because it's slow release, or take it 4 times a day. That's better than taking everything once a day. Everybody needs vitamin A, which is also for virus protection. Fortunately, our Formula 4 has real vitamin A, but if you want a little extra protection, take our mycelized. Remember, it is already mixed with bile acids. It's very easy to absorb. Okay, take it, there we go. Take it 3 times a week. And everybody needs vitamin D. And instead of stocking up zinc, take multimints because too much zinc suppresses copper. And that's it for today.